Good morning. I just got finished consuming all of my water. However, I just got finished doing a little workout. In the mornings, I typically don't do that. It's an interesting adventure for me, though, because I was not into anything health-wise physically until I started to heal my neurology. So as this process, and I've shared this here a bunch of times, as I started to tremor, I started feeling my body for the first time. So, like this morning, when I was doing some stretches, your butt cheek is made up of a lot of muscles, actually, and they're layered in there. So everybody thinks of the gluteus. Well, there's a gluteus maximus, there's a gluteus minimus, and then towards the lower part of your sacrum, there's the intertubal ligament, sternointertubal, something like that. Anyway, there's all of this stuff that stretches in there. And so as a couple things, as I start to work out, all of those are affected. All of those might even begin to grow. And so when you do, like, say, a static stretch, my mornings are moving more towards a combination of static stretches and movements. So I might be doing somewhat like a Russian squat, even though I can't get weight down there. It's partly designed to be a moving stretch, and it's kind of hard on my right knee at times. But anyway, while I'm doing those, I begin to feel some of these layered muscles that are underneath the gluteus ones, and I look them up, actually. Here's a great book, The Science of Strength Training, so you get to get a sense of what muscles you're working on. And then I have the companion version, and I think I even have the yoga version, The Science of Stretch. Because one thing that tremoring taught me is, I begin to feel a lot of these little muscles while I'm tremoring. So it brought me into my body. That's what they call embodiment. And then I just have taken the time to learn, okay, when I'm stretching, what am I doing here? What muscles groups am I working? And what stretches can I do to work other muscle groups? Which is the same for the strength training. And I get to then feel those muscles. So when I'm using my shoulder reliever, and I've only got one, and I'm doing this kind of thing, I have felt all the different muscles of my rotator cuff operating. I mean, and as that ball rolls around out there, yeah, you can kind of feel it going in a circle. It's pretty fascinating. If you've never felt those before, that's what they call part of, and I think sometimes it's a combination of interoception and proprioception. When I'm doing this, I don't have to worry about where my body is in space and time, because if my shoulder's moving out, I have a problem. It's more of the interior messaging of your body, the actual firing of these the rotator cuff is really 4 primary muscles around and in your shoulder. And to be able to feel those as you're doing this, forwards and backwards, and change sides, it's pretty fascinating. That means that your body is firing the messages to your nervous system, and your nervous system is responding. That's how it's supposed to work. And at a deeper level, when you're feeling these little tiny ones down inside your butt that are coming that head over, and I don't know if the beginning is at the outside of the hip, the pelvic bone, or if the head is at the actual sacrum side. That I could look that up. That's what I think the yoga book explains, and I've got another one on the shelf that is a little bit more precise about that. It's for massage therapists, because there's the beginning, the head, and then I can't remember the word for the other one. In any event, my story here with that is, as I was tremoring, and back then I was not in very good shape physically, Okay, I'm tremoring, so I'm feeling my body, and then I start to feel the demands of my body, and part of that was get up and move more. At the time, I was living in the second story of not a duplex, there's a quadplex in a group of 4 quadplexes. And so slightly downhill from top of the property to ours, to where we were. So I could get up, go down off the second story, back up all the way to the top of the property, then down the street to the driveway entrance, down even further down the driveway completely to a little bit below where I was living, and then back up to my seat. And so I was doing that every hour. And then pretty soon my body said, no, we need something more serious. Get out in the woods. So I did that. I was walking the trails with my partner. And then that moved into, I need something more serious. Cardio-wise, that got me into Krav Maga. Krav Maga got me into fitness. Fitness got me into getting certified as a personal trainer. And honestly, I had no idea that that was going to happen. That was just the path that my life went down. And one day I caught myself in the reflection of the big mirror of the school where I went to learn. Dojang, dojo, there's a million names we could call that. Anyway, big picture window, because it's down there at Ken's Corner. And here I was, 2 bags of gear, and I just started to laugh, because had you told me this, I would have said, not happening. Not happening. I mean, when we're younger and we're confused and we're not in our bodies, we join taekwondo classes, kempo classes, karate classes, all this other stuff, because we want to be the warrior, and we don't have the discipline to stick with it. That was the story of my life. And now I'm an advanced instructor in Krav Maga. I mean, whoa! And how old am I? None of that happened when I was young. It all happened after I was 60 years old. Go figure, huh? But the thing about coming into your body and the tremoring process and learning to regulate means that I'm regulating what I put in my mouth. And as we age, there are issues around being able to move and wanting to be able to move. And I remember that commercial, I could probably find it somewhere, but it was popular on the holidays because the old guy goes out to the shed and picks up a kettlebell, or I think he might have started with a block or something like that and then advanced to the kettlebell, but basically bent over, picked it up, okay, and then this, bent over, picked it up, and I showed him doing this for months and months and months and so forth and so on, because the idea was at the end he picks up his granddaughter and holds her up so that she can put the star on the Christmas tree. And it's a great commercial. I mean, it touches all the feels. That's really cool. Here's the point, though, is that as we begin to age, we begin to lose a lot of that. And if you sit a lot, or you're retired and that's all you're doing is sitting, you want to get up and move. Now, does that mean you should be picking up kettlebells and start humping them? Probably not. I've made a few of those mistakes along the way. Baby steps is a great philosophy, a great idea to work with when you want to get into better physical shape. There were times when I didn't do that, and there was times when, in my own training as an instructor, that I paid a price for that. Is not just physical. If it's not touching my emotions, if it's not touching my cognition and all the rest of that, it's really one-sided. I've met gym rats who couldn't spell a word if you ever spell the word gym. That's not physical, that's not fitness. That's just having a body that's fit. Their emotions could be a mess. In fact, their fitness is an addiction, so I know their emotions are a mess. And their relationships are probably a mess. Their spirituality is a mess, all so forth and so on. As in the healing process, when you begin to integrate all of this stuff, the physical, in my mind, cannot be left behind. If you're out of shape physically and you think you're in shape in these other areas, I'm going to say there's probably a pretty good chance you're deluded. So think about that. Embody all of that and bring your body into this integrated experience of having all of your life. Because if you're not my age, when you get to be my age, you're going to hate it if you're not in shape. Just walk around the grocery stores, go to a Costco and look at the bodies that are out of shape and what's in the shopping carts, because they're using the teeth to dig their own graves. Now, there's several reasons for that. The whole stress response, glucose, insulin, what your body demands, what your body is evolved to use as energy. That's hugely expressed. But look what happens to the body. The posture, the excess weight, what is that doing to joints? Wow. The toll is astounding. What we call tech neck is probably two things. One is, yes, it's this. The other is, as we, if we started as a child, and, that was my knee. Oh, that hurt. All right, putting the brace on that one today. Anyway, if you're looking up at a teacher or probably a parent, and they're berating you and insulting you and yelling at you, what are you going to do? Head's going to drop, shoulders are going to come in. Where do you see this the most? In the elderly. Go through the stores, watch that happen. Big elderly, what do they have? Slumped upper body. They're barely holding it together. Small elderly, same thing. And as those muscle systems tighten and everything like that, because that's what happened with this, is it begins to result in the old person shuffle. Start with your feet, move your way upwards through your body, learn to stretch, learn to move again, learn how to walk. Rolling your feet, pushing off the toes. I got a million resources on this. But anyway, that's the point. I want you to age gracefully. I want you to age happily. I want you to engage embodied. And that's a part I can add on to the Raise Your Resilience Toolbox program. It's not specifically there. Tremoring will take you a long way. And with a few principles, you can find your own path in that. Now, if you've had problems with addictions, it could become that. So that's one thing you need to watch out for. But as you integrate, your body will give you the messages that it needs you to hear so it can be in optimal physical health for as long as possible. I'm healthier now than I've ever been at any time in my life. Isn't that weird? And I still deal with a few, like my knee right there, kinks. I got some issues. Now, part of my knee is a genetic thing. I find that out with my son. I don't know. And another genetic thing might be our ears. However, those are just things you have to learn to deal with, and some of those things you can't do anything about, and still you can be in great shape. That does not mean the gym. I don't go to the gym at all. I do most of it right here behind me. Yeah, that's how easily that can be done. Minimum investment. It's going to take discipline. Discipline it'll want some motivation. Anyway, there you have it. I hope today that you will take some time to just move. And one of my favorite things is just to go outside and smell. Now, mind you, if you live in an urban, you can see I don't live in an urban area. That makes it look like I look in the jungle, doesn't it? But out this window, it's not quite so bad. The nearest trees are 500, 600 feet that way. They're Douglas firs. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but you can see there's a tree right out the back there, right out the window, right? And you can see all those branches. And the reason there's a dark background is because the trees across the street are twice as high, and they are the cousins of these Doug firs over here, if not their brothers and sisters, and those are directly across the street. So when I go outside, you know what I smell? At the bus stop yesterday, I took the bus to go do some grocery shopping. Great way for me to just sit down, I don't have to drive, I don't have to do anything, and I get to just be. I love it. I just get to be. No phone, no Kindle, no book. I don't even take water or coffee. I just take me. And so I go inside the store, then do my shopping, come back out to catch the next bus taking me back to Langley. And I'm standing there at the bus stop, and I can smell cedar. The marine layer's up a little bit, so I get to smell the beach a little bit, the salt water. I mean, it's phenomenal. All of that is having an impact on my nervous system. Anyway, I'll let you go. I just wanted to share that note. Got a little bit longer than I even wanted it to be, but this is the beauty of this complexity and how simple it can be for us to correct it so that we can live optimally. Happy, healthy, at peace, and in ease. With that, I bid you goodbye. Have a great day.